Velvet Buzzsaw is a new horror movie that actually came out on Netflix over a month ago. I'm pretty sure it was close to a month ago that this movie came out. I only got a chance to see it a couple of days ago, and now I feel like talking about it. It's written and directed by Dan Gilroy. If you don't know who Dan Gilroy is, he is the director of the movie Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was one of my favorite movies of 2014, so I was pretty excited for this one. This film stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Zawe Ashton, John Malkovich, Toni Collette, Daveed Diggs, among other people. And it's a story about art critique, basically, if I could put it that way. It takes place in Miami, Florida, and it features a bunch of people who either critique art or who sell art for profit in galleries and stuff like that. One day, this young woman who is friends with Jake Gyllenhaal's character comes across a dead tenant in her apartment. She's able to go into his room and she finds a whole bunch of really weird and awesome, beautiful looking paintings. She works at this art gallery, so she decides to cut in the owner of the art gallery, and they're able to sell a lot of these paintings for a profit. And the longer the movie goes on, the more and more weird shit starts happening, and a lot of it seems to be associated with these paintings, and then you start to find out maybe there's a much more sinister story behind these paintings that has been led to believe, and thus almost everybody who became associated with these paintings is now in danger. Like I said, Dan Gilroy directed Nightcrawler, so immediately right there, I'm hooked. Like, I saw the trailer for this movie a little bit ago, like before it came out, and I was just like, okay, yeah, that looks like my type of movie. I saw Jake Gyllenhaal and I saw the talent of the cast involved, and I was just kind of like, oh yeah, sign me up. There's no way this movie's not going to be awesome. It's not enough to just put talented actors in a movie. Like, you actually have to give them good material and have them act their asses off. Seriously, it's just a bunch of flat booty people in this movie. That's how much they're acting their asses off. It's weird how casting works, but it is what it is. Gyllenhaal is one of my favorite actors working today. I love the way he's able to sell you on whatever character he's trying to portray. This guy is like a method actor. He gets really into it. This guy has the full range of the emotional spectrum at his disposal, and he displays it in this movie. It's a thing where I go into a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and I just expect greatness at this point, and I feel like most people should. The dude is legit, okay? He's legit. Dan Gilroy, as usual, knows how to procure a very beautiful and aesthetically pleasing looking movie. This is a film that is extremely well shot, extremely well lit. If I were to compare and contrast this with his previous work visually with Nightcrawler, I would say it's actually night and day, literally. Like, Nightcrawler kind of focused on the dark undertones of LA. This one is kind of different. This one kind of, it takes place, obviously some parts of it take place in Miami. It really focuses on the shiny Hollywood sheen and glow up of everything that is associated with Hollywood. From a visual standpoint, the lighting is just different in the two movies, and it really accentuates the two different parts of those extremes. I may be looking a little bit too much into it, but that's what Dan Gilroy does with the way he shoots his movies, man. He makes me look into it a little bit more, so I have to point it out here. Production design, very sleek, very well put together. The editing in this movie, it's like Dan Gilroy has like the best editors in Hollywood. Everything is cut and framed and flowing exactly the way it should be. Almost a movie that's like a self-parody of itself at times. It has a very satirical edge to it, which I did not expect actually going into it. Making fun of the shallow and superficial versions of critics that we see them as, the way we perceive them, and the world that they perceive themselves to be in. A lot of that is handled at times in a very intelligent way, and then at times it's handled in a very satirical way. So you take it how you want it, I guess. Shines through with the dialogue and the way that the characters interact with each other. Like, a lot of these characters talk to each other like they're mud underneath somebody else's foot, even if they do it unintentionally. Can't even really picture myself having actual conversations with these people. I can probably picture what it would go like, though.
Yes, Hannibal, if I were to critique your critique, I would say that it is nothing more than a bunch of frivolous frivolities. Nothing more than shallow, pedantic, meandering, existential plane of existence that you no longer exist on.
What the fuck did you just say to me? Yep. It'll probably be something like that. Weird that this is going to transition into my flaws for the movie, but one of my flaws for the movie is something that I can't really fault the movie for, which is weird to say. It was actually kind of hard to connect to some of the characters in this movie. From a characterization standpoint, I didn't really gravitate towards anybody in particular. I feel like that's by design, right? Like, I feel like part of that is because of the way they decided to approach these characters, the way they decided to give them that superficial gloss of Hollywood shine. They're supposed to talk to everybody else like they're the elite of the elite, and as a result, I don't know if you're supposed to feel for anybody in this movie. Kind of like Dunkirk. Just because a great idea is executed to perfection doesn't mean that as a fan I'm going to enjoy it anymore. And as a fan, it was kind of hard to connect to anybody in this movie. The movie does delve deep into the horror elements of its story a little bit later into the movie. Some of that is going to be polarizing for some people. Like, they make some decisions that I feel like some people are going to like and some people are not going to be on board with. I do feel like the movie kind of overreached and overstepped its bounds in some areas, and some of the things they went for didn't really work for me. Also, a slight tonal inconsistency consistency with this movie. Like, sometimes the movie is trying to be very satirical, very funny in the way it approaches it. And there are some moments where the movie is trying to be very intelligent, like very thoughtful, very sophisticated. And the other parts of the movie is trying to be this really weird artsy-fartsy horror movie. And I don't know if all of the tones came together. I think that Dan Gilroy and Jake Gyllenhaal have another good movie on their hands, and I really enjoyed this one. I won't quite say I loved it, but I did enjoy my time with it. Velvet Buzzsaw was a pretty enjoyable movie overall, and I'm going to leave it in the Silver Age for Man of Steel. First video that I've done in a week. Sorry guys, I've been really busy. I haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of videos. I'm trying to get that corrected. I have a lot of other stuff that I'm working on. Stay tuned as usual. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.